Hello everyone, today our group's topic is Human-Centered Curriculum Analysis. Our members are Li Jieming, Li Mengke, Hou Yirui, and Zhao Yanmi. So now I will introduce our contents. Our contents include 4 parts. The first part is core concept and key features. And number 2 is difference between human-centered curriculum and the traditional curriculum. Number 3 is about the Montessori education, a human-centered curriculum case. And number 4 is about achievements, challenges, and alignments with human-centered principles. First, I will start my part 1. Now let me introduce the core concepts. Human-centered curriculum design is an approach to curriculum design that focuses on the needs, interests, and developmental goals of the learner, and is centered on the students as the subject of the curriculum, with an emphasis on personalization, engagement, and optimization of the learning experience. Now, let's know the definition. Human-centered curriculum design focuses on the emotional, cognitive, and social needs of learners and aims to help students achieve holistic development through personalized adaptation of curriculum contents and methods. And the number 2 is about theoretic foundations. One is humanistic education theorem. It is proposed that education should focus on learners' inner needs and self-realization, such as must know hierarchy of needs theory, and so on. And the next one is constructivist learning theory. It is believed that knowledge is constructed through the active participation of the learner. And so in this topic, our keywords is learner-centered, autonomy, and personalization, and collaboration. So human-centered curriculum includes 5 parts key features. The first one is about the learner-centered. So curriculum objectives are set based on students' actual needs and interests. So the instructional design emphasizes the individual differences and encourages students to learn at their own pace and style. The number 2 is about flexibility and openness. The course content is high flexible, allowing dynamic adjustment based on students' feedback and interests. And the learning models can be diversified, including online and offline blended learning, project-based learning, and so on. The number 3 is about the emphasis interaction and participation. Deep student participation is promoted through discussions, group work, and case studies, and so on. The teacher's role changes from knowledge transmitter to learning facilitator and guide. The number 4 is focus on learning experience. Emphasize emotional support in course design, focusing on cultivating students' self-confidence, curiosity, and learning motivation. Utilizing multimedia technology and actual cases to make the learning experience more attractive and relevant. Number 5 is about achievement-oriented and whole person development. So in this part, focus not only on academic performance, but also on the development of students' comprehensive qualities, such as creative thinking, social responsibility, and teamwork skills. So in the first part, we can make a conclusion. Human-centered curriculum design is an important trend in modern education. It respects individual differences and the needs of learners and promotes personalized and all-around development. Through flexible and open curriculum design, deep student participation, and the optimization of learning experience, this method puts learners' growth at the core of education.
Hi, I'm Hou Yirui, and I'll be continuing with the difference between human-centered curriculum and traditional curriculum. So here are the 6 main differences. The first is the difference in learning objectives. The human-centered curriculum does not preset the learning goals for students, and the learning objectives are determined by the students and the teachers in consultation to guide the learning process. While the traditional curriculum often have preset and clear learning objectives, which stipulate the direction of learning and outcome of the learning process. The second one is the selection of learning materials. The human-centered curriculum selects learning content and learning materials based on the students' interests and needs, which is extremely wide and needs to be explored by students themselves. The learning content of traditional curriculum is pre-selected and set by the teachers or the experts, such as our textbooks. And in terms of learning activities, the learning activities of traditional curriculum are directly related to the learning objectives and focus on the stimulating learning motivation. The learning activities of the human-centered curriculum are still selected by the students or in consultation with the teacher, emphasizing the active participation and collaborative learning of the students. And in terms of teaching strategies, they are also based on the students' needs and interests. And teachers teach in any way possible, while the teaching strategies of traditional curriculum are planned, and emphasizing that teachers use developed methods to lead students to learn. And in terms of assessment and evaluation, the traditional curriculum are more inclined to summative evaluation or assessment, and the evaluation criteria are single, such as the marks their students' test scores, and the human-centered curriculum emphasize the formative assessment or evaluation, and the criteria are flexible. And finally, the interdisciplinary collaboration. The human-centered curriculum emphasizes the design-based learning, which is DBL, and IPBL, which is interdisciplinary project-based learning, which provide the sufficient teamwork and collaborative training to prepare students to participate in the complex technical, educational, and social projects. And the traditional curriculum focus more on the systematic learning of a single curriculum, and more on some theoretical learning, and ignoring the combination of theory and practice. So human-centered curriculum design as a design method that emphasizes the learner's needs and experience has attached more and more attention in recent years. Having previously mentioned the features of this type of curriculum design, so let's take a look at the challenges it faces. The first one is the design and implementation are complex. This kind of design requires a lot of time and effort to understand students' needs and develop a personalized curriculum, which puts higher demands on the curriculum designer and the implementers. And it is difficult to fully implement it in a classroom with a large number of students. The second one is the difficulty in assessing. Soft skills, attitude, and values are often focused on, but traditional educational assessment tools struggle to accurately measure the achievement of these goals. And this requires a balance between traditional test scores and humanistic development. The third is teachers have a higher competence requirements. Due to the flexibility of the human-centered curriculum, the teachers need to have the ability to design a diverse curriculum while also understanding other area of knowledge such as psychology. It can be difficult to be competent without the systematic training. The last one is difficult to promote. This curriculum design is not applicable in the countries that rely heavily on standard tests because because it lacks the uniformity and the quantifiable outcomes, and insufficient policy support might limit its widespread adoption. So human-centered curriculum design can better meet the diverse needs of the students, promote whole person development and social inclusion. However, in the process of implementation, more policy support, teacher training, and innovation in evaluation machines are needed to solve the contradiction between the uh, operability and the standardization. So in the future, it has the potential to become one of the important directions for education transformation and innovation, especially in the context of integrating artificial intelligence and cross-natural learning. And next, we will take a closer look at the human-centered curriculum with some examples of the specific school curriculum.
Hello everyone, I am Li Jinming. I will continue to share one of the human-centered curricula, Montessori education, which is an educational philosophy that takes children as the core and respects individual development. Later, through a specific case, we will explore how it can stimulate students' potential in practice. Montessori education emphasizes respecting children's individuality and natural development. It avoids a one-size-fits-all approach, instead offering an environment rich with choices. Teachers adapt learning experience to each child's interests and developmental stage. For instance, when a child shows interest in writing, they are introduced to relevant materials and activities. Those curious about science can participate in hand-on experience, nurturing their curiosity. This freedom empowers children to explore their interests and develop at their own path, driven by curiosity and a love of learning. So to sum it up in one sentence is this quote I found from the website, "Help me do it alone." So in Green Spring Montessori School, it ignites passion, curiosity, and purpose for children ages 18 months to 14 years in Baltimore, Maryland. So classrooms in there are thoughtfully designed for mixed-age learning, like grouping 3 to 6 years old. And this foster peer learning, where younger kids observe and elder one mentor. The elder environment is divided into zones such as reading areas and activity corners, encouraging autonomy. So like the picture in the middle of our slides. Montessori classroom use specific materials. For example, math tools like bit bears introduce numerical concepts, while sandpaper letters build fundamental literacy through tactile and visual engagement. These materials guide children from concrete learning to abstract reasoning, like the picture from the left side. It shows that in these schools, material just act like bridge from concrete learning to abstract thinking. So the following is an
example from the curriculum design of Growing Spring School, which can help us to understand this curriculum method more intuitively.
In cosmic education, there are 5 great stories. The great stories are a way to introduce and lay a foundation for the rest of elementary education. Children hear these stories at the beginning of every year from 1st grade to 6th grade. The first story is about the creation of the universe, and it covers from the Big Bang to the consolidation of particles together, and eventually to the Earth spinning off from the sun. So it relates our experience of being here on the planet to the Big Bang. The next story is called the timeline of life. The timeline of life starts with the first, she calls it a little blob of jelly, the first single cell life. And it takes the children from there into the age of single-celled organisms, past that into the first multi-celled organisms, when creatures were living only at the bottom of the sea, their migration upward onto land, and eventually it ends with the introduction of humans. The next story picks up from there. The story of the coming of human beings talks about a human's unique endowments. We have these hands that can grasp, but more importantly, a mind that can think. But most importantly, we have a heart that can love people, not just our family and our friends, but people we've never met before. And that compassion is unique to humankind. Dr. Montessori recognized that and emphasized that to the children. Then the next 2 stories really go together. The first is the story of language, and the second is the story of mathematics. In the story of language, we talk about the development of the first language. We talk about where a need for language came from for human beings. And we also talk about the development of the alphabet. In the beginning, human beings would just draw pictures to represent the concepts they wanted to show. If they saw an animal, they would literally draw the animal to share its meaning. Eventually, we would draw pictograms, which are simple pictures. The Egyptians created a vast system of pictograms, and they even started to represent concepts that you can't draw by drawing pictures. For instance, they could draw a bird and mean flight or speed. You can see here we have a sentence in Egyptian. But where things really took off was with the Phoenicians. The Phoenicians took their symbols to make letter sounds, just like our letter sounds today. The 5th grade story is the story of our numbers. We begin the story very similarly to the story of our language. We established that humans needed to count things from the very beginning, not unlike how we need to count things today. Then we explore how different civilizations created different numbering systems. We explore the similarities, especially with the number 1, which looks very similar today as it did to the ancient Romans or the ancient Egyptians. After that exploration, we discuss how valuable it is that today we have the number 0. In ancient Egypt, you had huge numbers. And in Roman numerals, if you ever look at the bottom of a building, you can see how writing a date can take up an entire line. But with the number 0, we can keep our numbers compact and easy to compute with. As with all the great stories involving humans, we end by thanking those people who will never know, in a time that we don't know about, who invented our numbers. So storytelling is incredibly important to cosmic education because I can't take the children to the edge of space, and I can't take them back in time to meet the Romans and their gods. But I can use that quality of imagination that all elementary children have, and I can activate that through storytelling. And that's really part of the guide's job. In fact, Dr. Montessori and her son Mario thought of the elementary guide not as a guide, as they called the primary teachers. They thought of us as storytellers of the truth. But that's a bit cumbersome to say.
So from the video, we can see that these schools use many materials to use it as the bridge from the students and the teachers from the concept to the understanding. So after that, my friend Li Mengke will continue to introduce the achievements, challenges, and principles of the human-centered curriculum.
Hello everyone, I will introduce the final part of our group task. Montessori education is a great example of human-centered teaching methods. It was created by Dr. Maria Montessori. This method encouraged independence, creativity, and teamwork, making it a strong model for personalized learning. Next, I will talk about the achievement, challenge, and alignment with human-centered principles. Part 1. Achievement of Montessori education. First, Montessori helps children become more independent and self-disciplined. Students learn in a flexible environment, which teachers teach them to manage their time and think for themselves. For example, in Montessori school, students follow a work cycle where they can focus on tasks without interruptions. Second, Montessori encouraged creativity and problem solving. Students work on hands-on activities and explore open-ended challenges. For example, successful innovators like Larry Page has said that Montessori education helps them develop their creative thinking skill. Lastly, it supports social and emotional skill growth. In mixed-age classroom, students learn to work together. For example, older students help younger ones with activities which help both girls learn responsibility and teamwork. Part 2 is challenges of Montessori education. Although Montessori had many successes, it also faced challenges. The first is it needs highly skilled teachers. Montessori teachers must observe students carefully, understand the children's development, and give personalized lessons. However, not all areas have enough training programs for these teachers. Second, it doesn't always match well with standardized testing. Montessori flexible and personalized approach can clash with traditional test-based system. Still, some schools are working on combining Montessori teaching with national standards, especially in key subjects like math and language. Part 3 is comparison with human-centered curriculum. Our study shows that Montessori and other human-centered curriculum have a lot of in common. These both value personalization, socialization, and independence. The first one is personalization. In Montessori classroom, teachers adapt lesson to fit students' interests and abilities. For example, if a child loves geography, they can use puzzle map to explore continent, which keeps them engaged and curious. Next is socialization. Mixed-age classroom lets students work together and learn from each other. For example, a 6-year-old may teach a 4-year-old how to use a learned material, which builds leadership and communication skill. The last one is independence. Montessori lets students choose their own learning paths within a structured environment. For instance, a child interested in plants can study specimens and learn plant names, creating a complete and meaningful learning experience. Montessori also focuses on practical skill. It can connect the knowledge to real life. For example, in math, students use hands-on tools like beat chance to understand concepts rather than just memorize the formulas. This approach makes learning more relevant and fun. In summary, Montessori education reflects human-centered values like personalization, socialization, and independence. Although challenges like teacher training and standardized tests remain, its successful practice makes it an important approach in modern education. In the future, we hope Montessori education continue to grow and blend even more with traditional system. This is my group presentation. Thank you.